Hello and welcome. This scene takes place starting in the wastes of Russia, frozen tundras filled with Garu and trouble and all those sorts of fun things. The scene's focus. Our young friend here, Mr. Collin Edwards, a young guru about to head home. He's been sent to the port, hiking down out of the mountains to meet with kinfolk who have a fishing trawler, who will then ship him across the world back to the almighty San Diego, California. As we begin, Colin's just arrived at the port, and there's a few fisherman-looking folk bustling around. You can see the trawler docked. Is there anything in particular you'd like to do, say?
Colin takes a quick look around just to make sure he has the right place and, more importantly, the right boat. Once he's sure of that, he is going to make an approach and confirm, at least by eyeballing the people around him, whether or not these are curse-friendly folk that he's been stuck on a boat with.
As you're approaching, none of the people seem to really give you a second notice. They don't seem put off by your presence. The name on the boat, as you make your way closer and get a better view, does match the one you were told to come and take.
Okay. At that point, he's going to make all due haste to board the ship and head towards that kind of cabin-like area where captains end up these days.
You head up the gangplank, head towards the big bridge of the ship, I guess you'd call it.
Yeah.
And as you're approaching, you see a gentleman with a couple other fellows following him. He has on a very distinctive kind of hat that most people take to mean captain, because maybe he's just trying to be too stereotypical to fit in normal society, perhaps. Who knows, really? He greets you. You're the boy that we're taking home?
Yeah. Where do I steal my shit?
Joey here will show you to your room. If you have problems getting angry, let me know. We can drink you. If you get seasick, let me know. We can drink you. If you don't like the food, I will give you fresh fish out of the hold. You can eat it raw.
That last option actually seems to appeal to Colin. He didn't say anything. Okay. Joey.
And the captain looks over at the guy. He kind of gives a little quick salute and heads down the stairs past you and into the doors into the inside of the ship.
Okay. Colin follows him, and where he gets where what little belongs to him anymore is going, he stows it there.
You have a room. It looks like there's a bunk, so there's the top and bottom bunk. You can have whichever one you want, it seems. Doesn't look like you're currently sharing the room.
He takes the bottom one.
Okay. And he says, meals are at 6, 12, and 6.
there anything else you guys are carrying on this boat?
Fish.
Just fish.
And you?
Fair.
But you are marked as crew, not passenger. Makes customs simpler.
It'll work.
Do you need anything else before I get back to my duties?
Kind of chews this over for a second. I'll be all right.
If you get bored, you can always mop the deck.
I'll take that under advisement.
And he steps backwards, closes the door, and wanders off to do whatever it is he's doing.
Collin checks his bag for what must have been the 20th time today. He checks it, and he checks it again, and when he's satisfied that everything's still in it, he lets it sit at the foot of the bed. He then sets himself on the bed, sitting up. But sitting up turns into laying down, and laying down turns into dead asleep.
Does he plan on staying in this little room the entire time? Does he go after they're underway? Does he spend time on deck?
Collin spends the majority of his time on board when not eating, meditating. Other than that, he tries to keep to himself.
So he spends very little time outside?
Yeah.
Several days in, you're 2 days out from San Diego now, because it's a long boat ride. You hear people, a commotion in the hallway outside your room.
Collin checks his knife. It's where it should be. He goes outside.
The crew seems to be saying that they see something out in the water.
He takes a short walk to go to where most gesticulations seem to be centering. Look out from there.
You see a group of people kind of against the port side of the boat, like looking out and pointing out into the water.
Okay. He'll take a look at the water from there.
As you look out there, it looks to be a shark fin? Like the dorsal fin that cuts through the top of the water?
Furrows his brow.
Can you roll me perception survival?
Yes, I can. Perception's over here, and survival's over there. And this is where we can all tell that my stats are really widespread. Looks like, depending on the difficulty,
3 successes. All right, you're looking at this, and it looks like it's quite a ways out there, but the fin looks, from where you're standing, probably an inch tall in the water, but it's a ways out there. Many football field lengths out there, like 5 or 6 probably.
scratches at his beard. That's not good. He heads up to where the captain is.
The captain seems to be keeping his boat away from there.
We've got problems.
Oh, you think so? And what gives you that idea?
That's not a normal shark fin.
Is that so? And here I thought it was just a giant shark out swimming in the water.
How well armed is this craft?
For something that big, we are not.
You think you can outrun it?
I think we are approaching its territory, so we are adjusting our course.
I'll stay out on deck until it's over then. And he goes back down to do exactly what he said.
The fin seems to be keeping pace with the boat, just slowly swimming back and forth, parallel with you at the moment. Eventually, it submerges, and the crew gets very nervous at that, worried that it's going to attack the ship. But for the time being, it doesn't seem to have been aggressive towards the ship. Then again, it could still be following the ship underwater. Who knows?
Who knows indeed. Collin stays where he is for the moment. Tries to keep an eye on where he last saw it.
Are you going to go closer to the edge to keep an eye out easier?
In this particular case, no. The strikes Collin is a little too close to biting range.
Okay. You're on a fishing trawler, though, so part of what they're doing is fishing, which means they have stuff in the water. And you see that when the shark went underwater, they started pulling up those nets because, there's nets full of fish.
Yeah.
And the last one that they start to pull up quickly snaps and is pulled under before they can get it out of the water. The whole arm of it is bent and twisted. Looks like it was a very fast, hard yank by something very strong.
He looks at the nearest crew member. How many pods do you have left out there?
That was the last one.
Cut the line.
And he does.
Okay, reel the rest of your shit back in. And be ready by what we have so far. Don't dump it out yet. This might get interesting.
And let's see. Would it be Dex Athletics to stay standing when the boat rocks forcefully? Yes, Dex Athletics. Defate, though, because water is going to be splashing over the edges.
Oh yeah, this is not exactly a non-slip surface type deal. Okay, that's right. I got one.
You manage to stay standing on your feet, not sliding off the boat. That's good. Is the crew as lucky? Some of them don't stay on their feet, but they all manage to stay on the boat somehow. Miracles never cease, it seems. And there's a few large, very firm nudges on the boat. It doesn't feel like it's a ramming impact, but something's definitely pressing against the boat.
Ah, shit. How many loads did you dump in the hole?
I don't know. It didn't count. We were
Okay.
kind of in a hurry.
You remember those pods I told you not to dump?
Yes.
Chuck them.
Fine, fine. And they start getting them out and dumping them off the edge. Fish galore go back into the ocean. So many fish. So very many fish. And as the first couple start start to pour in, the bumping seems to, what's that word? Brain, come on, work. Subside. The boat seems to steady out. The fish that were still alive seem happy. The crew seems happy that the boat has stopped running into whatever it was that it was running into. And the captain has the boat speeding up to get out of this area because he doesn't want to deal with whatever this is. And what does Collin do?
Colin waits until a satisfactory amount of time has passed since the last time the boat rocked. And it's not until he gets back to his room that he kind of presses back against the door, breathes out, and slides into a sit.
And how long does Collin stay there?
Probably as long as 20 minutes past the last rocking. As far as staying out there.
I meant slumped against the door.
He falls asleep sitting up.
You're woken by a knocking on the door.
He gives a canine-like shake to his face, blinks a couple of times, gets up, and opens the door.
The captain's standing there.
Yes.
You cost us a lot of fish, but that was fast thinking. Thank you.
It's my job.
If there is anything we can do for you, my crew and I owe you.
I'll keep that in mind.
And he gives a polite bow, nodding bow thing, and heads off, leaving you to your own devices again.
Colin makes the facial motions that a lot of people who've just been woken up do. The odd swishing, even though nothing's in his mouth. Slaps the side of his face a couple times. There's things he needs to write down now. He goes to his bag and opens it. Retrieves the leather-bound book that served as his notebook for a while. Opens it, pulls out one of his disposable pens, and begins to write. The language that he uses isn't particular. Everything's vague. Sometimes they're poorly drawn pictures. It's just enough to remind him that he had a brush with what might have been a grisly death, and that somebody owes him a favor.
The rest of your trip to San Diego is relatively uneventful. Pull into harbor, they let you off. They argue with the people they're making the fish delivery to that it's not their fault that they don't have more fish. They had unexpected troubles, and that they will do what they can to make up for it on their next load. And that's the last you hear as you leave the ship.
Collin knows he has to make it past the customs shakedown. He knows that it's not going to be particularly rigorous, especially since he's been listed as crew. He also knows it's a bad idea to be undocumented.
Well, you wait in line for the customs, for the normal routine. They ask for your identification.
He provides it. American passport. Still good.
All right. They look it over, kind of squint their eyes a little bit, look at you, look at the passport. Okay. And then they search your stuff. What you got?
No food items, actually. He anticipated this. What they find,
All right.
they don't even find agricultural products. He has sans tobacco at the moment.
Okay.
He has a certain amount of Russian currency. He knows a lot of these places have exchange booths.
Yes.
Clothing, some web wipes, a rag, soap, and the notebook and some Bic disposable pens.
All right. The soap. Is it a bar of soap?
It is. It is
Okay.
not exactly the best reprint, but it is a brand that maybe if it weren't Cyrillic would be recognized in the United States.
They pick up the soap. They hold it out to you. What is this made of?
He flips it over with this kind of nonchalant expression and is in a foreign language, so he literally just reads off the ingredient label. It's the same mind-numbing ingredient label that's in a lot of bars of soap. Like, by the time he's speaking out loud, they may have realized they just forced a man to read an ingredient label on a regular bar of soap.
Uh-huh. Yeah, there's a couple of them that are stifling chuckles. And one of them's elbowing the guy that asked you to read it as if, like, stop being an asshole, man. He chucks the soap back in the bag. He actually, that's the only thing he puts back. He expects you to put everything back in the bag, even though he just tore it all apart.
Collin does so. These were things that he would have expected even if he'd come back from his trip on time, like 9 months ago.
Right?
He had fully prepared for the rigors of foreign travel.
Before he lets you leave, he looks at you quite seriously. I'd stay in the country if I were you. There are things happening here that if you leave again, you might not be guaranteed re-entry.
And he opens his mouth, and this is the great fear. Do I remember my home language? Closes it. Tries again. I'll take that under advisement. There's an internal sigh of relief.
He nods. All right, get out of here.
Collin gets. He does go exchange that currency, though.
Yeah, you don't have much trouble doing that either. You probably have to wait in line for a little bit, but they don't give you any trouble at the exchange booth.
All foreseen. He knew this was coming, just not when, apparently. Once he gets through the exchange booth and gets out onto the pavement, he knows where his home of record is. He also knows that cab fare is not fun. He goes to the nearest convenience store, buys a pack of cigarettes and a lighter, and a piece of jerky. Once he gets out of there, he starts hoofing it home.
And hoofing it home you do, and it's a long walk from the ports in San Diego down and around and up into Coronado. Unless you want to try and walk across the Coronado Bridge, which isn't pedestrian friendly, as in it has no pedestrian sections.
He's cool with the long walk. There's a lot of old things to see.
All right, you take the long walk. You're making your way out the Strand, out to Coronado Island, passing the new hotels. You see the Coronado Hotel. You kind of, maybe it's something with how you are now, but there's something about that place. You're not entirely sure what, but there's something there. It's just a sense at the very fringes of your perceptions.
Collin stops, stares at it, furrows his brow. Does that particular hotel have a name? Like this visible from where you're standing?
Hotel del Coronado.
The hotel is huge, by the way. It is huge. I have a picture somewhere. Hang on.
Makes a note of it.
Collin was raised in San Diego, yes?
Yeah.
Roll intelligence for me then. See if he remembers something.
Okay, let me check his intel. Ah, okay, that's not bad.
Picture up there is the Hotel del Coronado.
Depending on the difficulty.
You remember that there are rumors that the hotel is haunted.
Collin remembers what his den father had to say about haunted places. Strider problem. And starts walking towards his home again.
And eventually you make it home.
Collin stands awkwardly on the lawn. This is the first time he's seen this place in over a year. He looks indecisive for probably the first time in a while. Didn't have a beard back then. He walks forward and knocks on the door.
It takes a couple of moments, but the door does open. And you see your mom standing there, and she's kind of in shock.
So, I know I'm like a year late.
Uh-huh. Could say that. Collin?
Before, Collin just kind of had this stern expression that you can see in the face claim with pretty much anyone he dealt with. Here, there's awkwardness. A lot of other conflicting feelings. Yeah.
She takes a couple of steps back. Come on in.
He comes in.
You'll notice that she's keeping a bit of distance from you.
Collin walks in, actually shuts the door behind him. I don't know how much they told you.
They said you were in the mountains. You had an accident.
Yeah, that's one way to put it.
They said you were alive, so I've just been kind of waiting. We've been kind of waiting. Glad to see you here, but you seem different.
Well, you know, they always said it was going to be one of us in the family, right?
Oh. Oh. Okay, that explains it. So that's why you were gone so long.
Yeah. And for a penny and for a pound, I guess.
Yeah. Well, welcome home. I'm glad to see that you're alive.
Glad to be alive.
Fairly well. How was your trip?
Oh, right up until a bear decided I was dinner, it was going pretty well.
The bear?
The accident.
Right. Well, they say that it takes something like that to trigger it. That would be, yeah. The bear. She looks like she's trying to process being confronted by a bear. It's not really something she ever thought would happen in her lifetime.
It's best not to think about things like that.
Yeah. So, what's your plans now?
Well, now that I'm back, well, used to be that Uncle Rodney took care of this kind of thing, and now I got to do that too.
Yeah. Well, it's your calling. You gotta do what you gotta do, right?
I guess. Old room still the same?
Just as you left it.
He goes there, sets his bag down. He idly considers the cigarettes, but leaves those too. He comes back out. Is Dad doing all right?
Yeah, he's alright. He's in here actually. Come say hi to him.
Okay.
She leads you to like his study area. He's probably sitting there, buried in a book or some sort of paperwork.
You know, I probably shouldn't be surprised. And he just lets that hang there.
Yeah, before she could tell him that Collin is here, he then speaks, so she just kind of keeps her mouth shut, steps back.
He looks up from what he's doing. My God, I didn't think I'd ever see you again. As long as you was taking to get back.
They're picky up north.
So it would seem. You seem to have come out all right, though. And he gets up from behind his desk. Starts walking towards you.
Couple bullet wounds. Just hurts when it rains.
Bullet wounds, huh? He's kind of starts walking around you, looking at you, taking it all in. So you're going to keep that scruff on your face, or you're going to clean yourself up?
Figure I can grow even more of it at a moment's notice. No use hiding it.
Right. Oh, okay. I always hoped when I was young that that had happened to me. Kind of glad it didn't, but
I understand the feeling.
I always thought it'd be exciting, you know? So what's it like? And he kind of puts his arm around you and leads you towards the couch.
The stories are exciting. Being there, it all just happens too fast.
I see. Well, didn't I hear... Honey, didn't they say there's a new one of those things? What's that word? Opened up while he's been gone.
Oh, yeah, I heard something about that. New set is here. They discovered something or another, and a bunch of them moved in and have created a place for you to hang out.
That... It's a pretty mild way of putting it.
Well, I don't exactly know what all you guys do out there, you know. We usually just send them stuff if they say, hey, we could use this. They don't ask for much, so we haven't had a whole lot of connection to them, but we've heard from them once or twice, maybe.
Honestly, guys, it's better that you don't know. I used to think otherwise.
Yeah, it's probably best we don't know everything, but being in the dark on some of the details makes it difficult to have conversations.
Well, I can tell you firsthand, being on the other side of those conversations is pretty difficult too.
She nods. I can understand that, I think.
There's a lot we're not going to say. There's a lot I'm not going to say. As much shit as I gave Uncle Rodney, he was right in that regard.
She just nods.
You still like to eat? Mom's been cooking dinner downstairs.
And he actually smiles.
I hope there's enough. I wasn't expecting you.
We'll be all right. Yeah, we'll be all right. I'm going to have to head out after I'm done eating, though.
Of course. Well, to come on and have dinner, and then you can be on your way.
And Collin does.
If you want, you can borrow your mom's car to head out there. It's out in East County, last I heard.
Yeah,
Sounds like a good idea.
I don't drive it much anymore anyway. Usually just ride with Dad, so you can keep it for a while. I don't need it.
Okay.
We're gonna have to call and have him put back on the insurance.
That's right. We'll get that done first thing in the morning.
Believe it or not, I probably won't be driving much myself.
Yeah, but it's good to have transportation, just in case.
Just in case. It's at this point that finally he actually shrugs off his coat, at least for the time being. I forgot winter was this warm.
Yeah, you actually just missed all the rain. It rained here for like almost 6 weeks straight. Can't really tell now, but it was actually kind of chilly for a while. I needed my coat.
We were getting lows in the 30s at night here. It was insane.
I'm sorry. It's just been up a mountain for a year. Lows in the 30s is t-shirt weather.
Your mom cocks an eyebrow at you like you're crazy. T-shirt 30s.
And you guys go downstairs and enjoy a meal. I assume you're gonna head on out to the Sept, make your introductions then.
Indeed.
Wonderful. You arrive
I
at
even
the
have a picture for this. Yes. Complete happenstance.
That is amazing. I just want to say that that's actually really amazing, and I approve of that picture.
All right, you arrive at the Sept. And you've been on a Sept before, right? You know the proper introductory procedures. If I remember correctly.
Oh yeah, the Guru Lore 3, he darn well should. So I actually have taken a gander at the map. So there is a parking lot.
Yes, there is.
So he'll park there, lock the car, all that good stuff. Starts the hike forward. Now, he doesn't know the scepter quite its bounds, but he knows that once you're a certain way into isolated nature, your odds rise pretty high. He gets about that far before he decides to cross over. Takes his time about it. Uses the edge of his dedicated knife. One of the great reasons to keep a knife with you, really. And once he gets over, he shifts forms. Doesn't this wolf look like it trusts everything around it and approves of things? Flexes his jaw a couple times. It's been a while since he shifted. And he readies himself to howl. My name is Collin Hardtack Edwards, Galliard of the Children of Gaia and Cleath under the nation. I request entry into this sept and to be evaluated by its guardians.
It doesn't take too long before there's movement in the Umbra. You'll see a blue glow kind of moving towards you. He's not too big, but he's definitely of fair size. You have Gareth Lore 3, so that means you know you've heard of elders in Athro, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah, those ranks were beaten into him.
You'll probably have heard of Smells the Fear then. He's from the pack that came and discovered this cairn and this sept. Spirits of blue fire seem to... Something about him draws them to him. He seems alive with this blue flickering flame. And as he approaches, you'll see another large wolf as the glow illuminates it beside him as they approach.
And on the larger wolf, his face is exactly how you see in this picture.
Awesome. He definitely has a good idea of who Smells the Fear is. If anything, the blue fire is quite the identifying mark. He also knows that he's being evaluated by guardians who typically do not take such a post until the rank of Foster, unless they are really just the most shit-hot Cleiths on Earth.
As you also likely would have heard of Punches All the Faces, he is an Athro as well. Get Fenris Arum, also part of the pack that came and populated the sept and discovered it and all of that. He also has a bit of a reputation of being kind of an old grumpy man. His friends call him Grandpa Wolf.
The all-gray pelt also kind of gives away his heritage.
Yes.
So he observes these two. By their very appearances, he knows their reputations and, more importantly, their ranks. When they approach within a decent distance, he waits just about until they would come to a natural halt, lowers himself, and rolls over.
Punches All the Faces, approaches, kind of sniffs you over. Looks over, it smells the fear. Smells like yours. Walks off.
Smells kind of sniffs at him. I don't know. He smells kind of fishy to me. Well, you were on that boat. Haven't smelled anybody from there in a while. How is old Sea Dog?
He's well, Raya.
Punches comes back over. A boat, huh? I don't like boats.
You don't like anything that is not your feet.
He growls.
Sorry, you also like your mouth.
He glares.
It is good to meet you. And he's standing so that he's... So you're like head to head. So he's looking down at you, but he's kind of turning his head so that your head looks right side up to him without moving his body. So it's a very awkward contortion.
Punches is just staring at you.
Collin doesn't make eye contact. He knows better than to do that. He's just watching an Athro play Twister.
This one actually was well trained. That's very good. I like it. He leans down and nips at your neck. Get the boy.
Collin rights himself.
I am Smells the Fear, author of the nation, born on 4 legs. Ragabash.
Punches. Takes a moment. They call me Punches All the Faces. Get a Fenris. Author of the nation. Warder of the Sept.
Arun.
Arun. Also born on 4 legs.
Collin looks vacantly between these two Athros that have come out to personally meet him. It's kind of a mind-boggling sight. He was expecting a couple of Borg Guardians.
And Smells kind of sits down and is looking you over. We need to get more Guardians. This is way too much work for the 2 of us. We're far too old for this.
We need our exercise. Besides, it's fun to greet the newbies.
Next time we send bamboozles and sympathies. Symphonies. Ugh, I hate that word.
He snorts.
Make them do something. They're far too lazy. Oh, that means we have to do the cleansing and stuff. Oh, God. And he rolls over onto his back and puts one paw up onto his head.
Oh, stop being dramatic. Get up.
Oh, I don't know if I can. Oh.
He starts growling.
He plays dead. Tongue lolling out of the side of his mouth and everything.
He comes over and sniffs you, and then snorts right in your face.
He quickly shakes his head. Oh, he kind of paws at the air. Oh, yeah, fine, I'll get up. Do you have this stuff, or do I have to get out of...
Do I look like I have the stuff? Really?
It's possible. You are a great and wise and wonderful Arun champion.
He glares at you.
No, really, you are.
Stop trying to butter me up. Do the thing.
Next time I want to butter you up, you will regret it. I promise you that. And he shifts up to Hamid momentarily, long enough to pull out some stuff out of a satchel. Fine, I will do the thing. And he draws a circle around you. Spends a moment trying to light this lighter to get the incense burning. Oh, I guess I have to press this button too. And he lights it, puts it away, walks counterclockwise around you with this stuff, like almost bouncing, waving it at you. Did I forget anything?
He shakes his head.
Well then, he shakes the thing, trying to put out the fire. Come on, go out. Oh, I remember. He said, put it on the ground, and he sets it down, and step on it. And he jumps up and steps on it with both feet. Hey, that works. That's a neat trick. And he picks up shakes off the excess dust, puts it back in his pack, relaxes back into his lupus form.
All right, let's show the youngin' where to go.
You said you're Cleat, yes?
Yes, Raya.
Good, then you don't get to stay in the teepees. You want to show him, or you want me to show him, or do we have to go together, or...
I need a nap. You show him. And he bounds off to his post, lays down, takes a nap.
Grumpy old coot. So, I will show you around the places and things places, and things will be good. And yes, and he begins trotting off around Sept, showing you all the key points, answering any questions if you have any.
And he does have a few.
Yes? What questions?
What is the Shadow Lord presence in this Sept, Raya?
Shadow Lord? Very minimal.
All right. Have we had a lot of corporate interference up here?
Corporate interference? Like the politics of our people, or the businesses of the humans and the worm?
Worm companies.
There are a couple here in San Diego. The main one seems to be called Qualcomm. They work for Pentex. There are rumors that there are a couple others. I'm not sure if they're actually part of Pentex. We always keep an eye on them, though. Especially with the disappearances that we've been hearing about.
Disappearances?
Several kinfolk have gone missing.
Sounds more like a Wild from Mori trick.
Possible. There were strange darts found at the area where they were last seen. There, I think they said they reminded them of syringes with like little fluffy tails.
Any glasswalkers on Sept?
Yes, there is. What's his name? He goes by writes the rules. He takes care of the kinfolk housing, most of the income for the sept.
Next time I see one, I'll see what he has to say about it.
All right. Any other question?
Spirals.
Oh, I almost forgot. There's another glasswalker. Symphonies of the Meme. Symphony of Memes. And I'm not sure what these memes are, but they seem to be important. They make music about them. Black Spirals. We seem to have chased them off for the moment, it seems. But you could never trust that they're gone very far. They're like worms, working their way through the earth slowly. You don't realize they're there until you step on one.
Back in the Urals, they were fond of cave systems and old mining shafts.
There are a few of those out in the mountains. They've not had activity in quite some time. We will be having the moot for the Sept Thursday, I think it is. Around about then. Wisdom of the Earth thinks that with all the new people, we should definitely be having one.
All right. I should fall into a pack soon enough.
From what I've heard, there are many young pups about who are looking to make names for themselves. I'm sure you will find someone.
I'll be here to sing of their victories and their failures.
Wonderful. Do you have any other questions, Pup?
No, Raya.
Wonderful. And he finishes the tour, showing you the cub cabins, the den mother's hut. The den cabins are actually teepees along one shore. The elders have their own den system, several caves and such in close proximity. Well, the largest one has the main pack of elders. Not all elders are in the pack together. Some are in a different pack. Shows you around the cairn. Shows you the lake and how pretty it is.
Once Sathar is done with him, Collin returns to the lake. Sits down at the edge, stares out into the water. I guess you really can never go home again.
And I think if there's nothing else, that is a wonderful place for this scene to come to an end. Thank you, player, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. Good night.